So, very warm welcome everyone joining from many different locations. We are really blessed to have each other together to explore healing in the light of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. So, before we start with the session today, let us take a moment of silence first in gathering our energies, and then we'll have a brief, very short round of introduction. What is our intention to join the session after the moment of silence? So if one by one, we can just, if videos can be on, it would be nice to see each other. If one by one, we can just share our intentions to join these sessions. What is, where am I coming from? Maybe we have a background of illness and healing, and that's why we are interested. So wherever we are coming from, please unmute and it will be nice to know each other. Thank you. Yeah, Priyanka, you want to go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, hi everybody. So I'm Priyanka, and I had this book for a couple of years, Integral Healing, and I have been so wanting to read it. And I've kind of picked up pages and read, and it so resonated with me. And when you shared it on the Facebook, I instantly, felt that it is for me because I want to learn more about integral healing. I so believe in it, the potential that is within us. And if I could understand it, if I could explore it and learn more about it. Yeah. Thank you.
And Priyanka, I believe you are joining from Gurgaon itself, right? You're in Gurgaon.
But right now I am in Bulgaria. So I'm
Okay.
traveling. So
Okay.
this entire month I'll be traveling. So I'll be joining from different locations.
Beautiful.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Otherwise, I am located in India, in Gurgaon. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Great. So, Lotus, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm joining it simply because I like the idea of integral healing, the subject title. I do hands-on healing. I do what's called lotus treatments, and I've been, it's a various number of modalities, and basically I just close my eyes, ask to be of service, and my body goes into automatic mode. And so far, I haven't poked anybody in the eye or done any of that, but I do energy treatments. And so I'm always open and wanting to learn more. Thank you.
Yeah. Beautiful. Great to have you here. Anyone who wants to go next? Yeah, Claudia, please.
Hi, everybody. I am from Mexico, and mostly, well, I have been with different kind of illness all my life, but especially epilepsy is the one that is attacking me since more than 25 years. So I am very interested in this because I try everything, almost everything, to try to heal. So I am open to read the words from Sri Aurobindo and the mother. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
thank you.
Great. Thank you. Good to have you. Yeah, Shweta, you would like to go next?
Hello everyone, I'm Shweta and I stay in Gurgaon. I'm here today because I think it's been exactly 1 year since I have been associated with, I found Living Light last June when there was, the session on integral education had started. So last 1 year has been so beautiful, so nourishing, so enriching, knowing more and more about Mother and Sri Aurobindo, that this is just like going forward, trying to understand more. And integral health is something that I would really want to know more about and incorporate in my life. At least try to. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good to have you here. Yeah, Taru, would you like to share next?
Yes, actually, so many reasons. I don't know where to start. I'll keep it short. So, you had given me this book, I think, 2 years back, and I mean, I really resonated with the topic because I don't know, somewhere there has always been, that connection with the body, and how they say that, we are using, I don't know, 4% of a brain or 1%, I don't know what the figure is. So, similarly, with the body, it feels that I know, yet I don't know. I don't obviously know. And yet, when I connect, especially when something hits me, a suffering, a pain, a disease, a cold, if I listen, it's talking. So that's always been very fascinating. And I have, on occasion, several occasions, listened, and I mean, small miracles did happen. And yet, I did not give it the attention I would like to give it, to know about it more holistically, right? Like, how is it happening? What's happening? How to do it? Just using Maslow's principles of rejection, for instance, right? Like, if you feel something coming, so it's just how mindfulness, awareness, and a will to not have it, or at times to, okay, if you want to come, anything. I've seen the play, but I don't know, how is it being played. So just, I guess that would be the answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Good to have you here. Yeah, Juan. Yeah,
Okay,
please go ahead.
I'm Juan from Argentina. I've been practicing as much as I can the integral yoga for years, and this book is amazing. It is a very important topic for me, the one of health and healing in this spiritual perspective. So I'm very glad to be here. Also, I'm glad that you are coordinating this, because I think you are a living example of these teachings. So I'm very happy to be
Yeah, thank you so much, and good to have you here. Yuan is also translating a lot of work owing to his own passion into Spanish, if I'm not wrong. Is that Spanish? Yeah, yeah, great. So, Shreya, would you like to share why are we here today, if you can? Yeah.
Not really. Thanks
Okay.
for having me.
I pushed you in the session. So that's why maybe. Okay, but good to have you anyway, Shreya, whether I pushed you or not. Yeah, so we Anamika, Sharda ji, Snehi, Birenji, whoever has the capacity to share, if they can just unmute and share.
Okay. Good evening to all. My name is Biren. I'm from Mumbai, but right now logging in from a train. For me, it's an extension of the integral education sessions that I've been, you know, going through since the last maybe 1 year or so. So very happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Good to have you joining from the train.
Yeah, thank you.
Good that you guys still have a good signal, we can hear you
Yeah,
properly. Yeah.
yeah.
So Meera, maybe you want to share next? Yeah.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Mira, joining in from Bangalore. So I have been learning and practicing some alternate healing methods. So Jinshin Jitsu has been something that I've been practicing for the past 2 years. It's a Japanese healing technique. Um, but along with that, or apart from that, the only thing that most resonates to me with is these integral healing with the works of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. So I think it's a journey. So I've been learning for the past 2 years how to recognize sort of when an illness comes, or at least after getting an illness to recognize why it came. So I think this is something that I'd want to explore very deeply. So that's why I'm here.
Good to have you. Thank you. Yeah, Sharda ji.
Yeah, so we were, part of this integral education, the last first session. So I joined in between. So I want to continue this journey. That's why I'm here. Yeah, very happy to be here. Thank you, Monica.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to have you. Anamika, you wanted to? Yeah, please. We can't hear you. Are you speaking? Okay. So Anamika is Priyanka's sister, if I'm not wrong. Priyanka?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And I have pushed her into this. So yes,
Let us all push into each other,
Yes.
good things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
But yes,
pushing. Yeah.
we both have had a spiritual journey, a long spiritual journey of 10, 15 years. And we've been practicing it in our own ways, and so much in connect and sync with all of this. Though for Anamika, Sri Aurobindo and Shima is new. So this will be her first, reading a book, or, though she's been hearing from me many a times, but to be reading it on her own, this is going to be her first experience. So Anamika, we can't hear you though, I don't know if you're speaking. We can't hear you at all.
Yeah. I hope you can hear us. And if not, if the connection is not proper, maybe you can try logging in again, Anamika. And thank you, Priyanka, for introducing Anamika. So I'll just share shortly why I am here. Because, so first of all, thanks to Taru. Taru is my colleague at Living Night. We both kind of thought of these sessions together, and they just sprang up on their own, like a spilling of our journeys. So healing, why I particularly am interested in that, because starting from my PhD days when I was in 2005, around 2004 to 9, I was in University of Zurich studying immunology, autoimmune diseases. And although I have always been interested in biology, but somehow reaching there and starting a PhD felt a bit, I would say, alienating, because there was no mental and emotional component involved when I was doing the research. For example, we would take the blood samples from people with autoimmune diseases. We will study those blood samples, but then I would wonder, how can I find a cure when I don't know the mental and emotional status of the fellow? So as if I was fooling myself. And at one point of time, even after, like, towards the end of the PhD, there was a phase where I decided, no, I don't want to do this, because this is like fooling myself. Although I did finish it, because my father said maybe he would have a heart attack if I don't finish it. So I had to finish it, but good that I finished, because somehow, this doctor title people do get attracted to, whether you want it or not. So later on it matters, even if we don't complete, or completion matters, I feel. So I left the PhD with a kind of a question in my head that how do we find a cure for diseases like autoimmune diseases for which nothing is known? We don't know how they are caused, how they are triggered at the very first place. How to find a cure, how to find the holistic arrangement towards that. And somehow through my journey, I was led to cancer in 2014. I myself was diagnosed with bladder cancer. It was cancer of the urinary bladder. And as if in front of me was this raw example that now you can find out for yourself how these mental, emotional, bodily components are interconnected. So I feel that it was given to me as a raw experiment because I had a science background, and been wanting to integrate in totality. So with cancer, my own cancer, I realized that I had been suppressing myself mentally, emotionally, and my mental and emotional health was not very good at the time when I was diagnosed. And this had been happening for the past 2 years after I got married. So not going into the details further, not my family is really beautiful, all my in-laws really cared for me a lot, but somehow you get into these roles after getting married, and I started suppressing myself a lot. So there was a lot of derangement going on in the body, which because I was not waking up to it, I feel cancer was a wake up signal that wake up, what are you doing, something like that. So for me, that's how I relate with integral healing, because I myself realized for my own self that mental, emotional, integral health is very important if I want to heal any disease, any illness holistically. Just eating a allopathic medicine, just having a surgery doesn't resolve it for a longer time. And that's how when I first read this book, when I had this in my hands, when I was going through the book, I felt so resonating that oh my god, this has been my story. This is what happened. This is what happened. So words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo came to me like after I had gone through that short phase of going through the illness and then going through the surgery and the therapy and all that. And then I got the book in my hands, and that was the time I was introduced to this book, Integral Healing, which really deeply resonated, still keeps on resonating. And that's why it has been an issue close to my heart. And I'm very delighted that so many of us are involved or interested in, curious to know about it in the light of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. So we will be we'll be discussing it, like we'll be sharing, unmuting, sharing, we can share our personal reflections if we have experienced something like that, whatever we read through. And if you want to bring in more components, like maybe you have seen some video or maybe some story you have read along in alignment with the theme, feel free to share it with me, and then I can maybe put it with the group and or directly share it on the WhatsApp group also. Another book that I felt very resonating with the same topic, which we will be consulting, is Veda of the Body. Some of us may have heard about it. It's by Dr. Alok Pandey, very comprehensive book on health and body, because he is himself a doctor and he has, I would say, quite grace flowing through his words. So we'll be using that. That book is also available online. I'll share the link with all of you. So those of us who can't access the hard copy, they can get the online material also. But I'll be making slides also for them, right? So anything anyone wants to share?
While we're making the introductions to each other, I wanted to say to Juan that you're not going to be the only gentleman that starting next week, Rick Wilson's going to be joining up with us from Canada.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Good to have Rick with us also. So what
I just have some questions. How long is going to be the session, and how many sessions you think will be like?
So I don't know actually how many sessions will be going into. It's like an open-ended thing. When we start, we don't know how far we are going to go. But regarding the duration, it would be around 1 hour to 1 hour, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. It depends on the day. So at times we don't have much to say. Maybe we have read enough. So 1 hour is enough. But if at times there is more sharing, people want to share, there is good material discussion going on, then we can extend if people are there. Those of us who want to leave in between are welcome to leave, doesn't matter. So there are no, as such, any rigid, time frames. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, so I thought that I'll put the PDF on the screen and then we'll start reading it one by one and sharing our reflections on it. If that is okay, feel free to suggest anything. I speak a lot, and if you unmute and want to share anything in between, do that by any means. Don't wait for me to stop. So that's a request. So this is the book. I hope we all can see. Integral Healing. The cover has changed for those of us who have new hard copies with us. So I'm not going into the index. I'm going to the introduction, which I thought was really beautiful. So we'll one by one read it. So anyone who wants to, will share the reading because that will keep us involved. So anyone who wants to read the highlighted part, please go ahead. Yeah. Please.
I can. Integral healing presents the insight of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother into the causes and cure of illness. This book of selections from their writings and talks examines the mechanisms of illness primarily from a psychological point of view, taking into account the whole of our being, including much that is beyond the range of our normal awareness. It explores how the hidden causes of physical disorders can be uprooted by discovering and utilizing one's inner power and participating consciously in the accelerated evolutionary process known as integral yoga.
Thank you. So what really struck me was when Mother said, or when in the preface it was said that taking into account the whole of our being, including much that is beyond the range of our normal awareness. So as Mother says, indirectly, that we don't know how powerful we are. If I am responsible for creating an illness, if my emotions, my thoughts, my sensations, my point of views have created an illness, it also in effect gives me power to resolve the illness. So I think there, if we look at with that attitude, I get the power back when I go through any disease. That, oh, I have created it, my emotions are deranged at this moment. So then in taking charge of those emotions and mental thoughts and constructions, I can also heal that. And when I act from that attitude, then the game changes. Then I'm not feeling a victim of the disease, that, oh my God, why me? It's like, okay, it's me, and hence I can resolve the illness also. So one needs, I feel, a kind of a curious explorer or scientist kind of an outlook, that let me go deep into it and find out what caused it, and hence find out how can I heal it. So this is very interesting when it is said that including what is beyond the range of our normal awareness. So as if you have a telescope, and with that telescope you have a very limited range. You can maybe look up to Mars, just giving a very little example. But it does not mean that the other planets do not exist. So if my body is an instrument and through my senses I can only perceive a little much, it does not mean that there is nothing beyond my senses. There are worlds and realms beyond my senses, which at the moment I'm not maybe sensitive enough. The instrument is not sensitive enough to take it into account. So we'll be discovering this mechanisms of illness from a psychological, mental, emotional point of view, taking into account whole of our being, including much that is beyond the range of our normal awareness. It explores how the hidden causes of physical disorders. Why hidden? Because when, for example, any disease strikes me, aren't we taken aback? Oh my God, how did it happen to me? Like, for example, cancer, or maybe a cold, as good as a cold, a headache, maybe an upset tummy. Suddenly we are just taken aback. But why? Why did this happen? So then at times we can go back in the memory lane and maybe look at, maybe I ate this with this attitude, I maybe inhaled that air with that attitude. But then there are also causes which we are not able to fathom. So hidden causes of physical disorders can be uprooted by discovering and utilizing one's inner power and participating consciously in the accelerated evolutionary process known as integral yoga. So with this, as if the illness, whatever illness has come to me, it's not that I am a victim. It's like the body is saying knock, 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 knock. But my sleep is so great that I am not getting up. So I am being woken up from my slumber, and somebody is asking me to wake up to my higher self, to rise up to the king that I am. But I feel that, oh my God, I'm not maybe worthy enough. How can I be the king? And we have so many excuses that go on in the head. So with any illness, it gives us the opportunity to wake up to our higher self, if we are able to take it into that sense. We are free will is there, so I can take it as, in a sense, that I am victim and poor me, how did this illness happen to me? But in that we drain a lot of energy gets drained. But when we take charge, then we reclaim the power. So anything on this paragraph, anyone? So I am also skipping a few things in between. I am taking a bit paragraphs which have more richness. Otherwise, we all have the book. We are free to read in our own times, right? So we'll go ahead. In case of no reflections, please feel free, as I said. Yeah, maybe anyone who's ready next. Yeah, Taru?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, even medically, they say that 96% of the diseases are psychosomatic, right? That means that causing, obviously, from our thoughts and where we are and how our lives are. So we are creating it. And medically, for it to be recognized as a fact, and yet how we treat medicines and how we take diseases, there seems to be a huge difference. And one cannot stress enough on what we just read. Just wanted to share that.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
since I am unmuted, I will read this, the highlighted part. So, Sri Aurobindo, the prophet of a higher evolution, envisaged this path of yoga as leading eventually through a radical change of consciousness to a total freedom from illness and the possibility of physical immortality. With regard to the body and its present subjection to illness, he stated that the aim of a yoga is not to find out the most efficient method of healing diseases so much as to change the entire consciousness, even the physical, in order that disease may not come at all. The entire being must be so transformed that disease becomes impossible. Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful paragraph. I think when I read this paragraph, it something, jumps up with joy that there is so much possibility, higher possibilities with us, each one of us, irrespective of our background in science or not, background. It doesn't matter whether we are well read or not. We all have this capacity. So he's leading us into a very different dimension. He's saying, Sri Aurobindo, the prophet of higher evolution, leading eventually through a radical change of consciousness. So this is my opportunity, So if someone comes to me with, okay, now today I have been diagnosed with cancer, somehow I feel that I am being cruel because I feel very delighted. So not that the person has cancer, because the person has an opportunity to radically shift the consciousness. How rare is that opportunity? Because if my life is very hunky dory, everything is very well suited to my preferences, my people and family are very okay, which usually doesn't happen with each one of us. We all have issues, we all have dramas in our life. But if life is very comfortable, then somehow I am not pushed to this radical change. Why do I change? Why do I enter integral yoga? Everything is okay. But most of us, if we look at our lives, we will see that we have been pushed to the path of integral yoga or spirituality because of the challenges that we faced in our lives. So here is the chance of radical shift, that knock, 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 wake up to what? I am asking, wake up to what? What is higher self? Am I not this consciousness that I am living from? So this is the chance that we have, and it brings joy when so-called seeming appearance of disease comes in front. Actually, there is something very beautiful lying behind that seeming appearance, which may appear very ugly because of the social conditioning. So leading eventually through a radical change of consciousness to a total freedom from illness. This is our possibility. And the possibility of physical immortality. How beautiful is that? That not only will I get awakened to my truer self, the disease also has the capacity to go away because it was just a wake-up call. And not only that, I have the chance to wake up to my physical immortality. And Mother has, those of us who read Mother's words, they know Mother worked so hard and so long on changing the cellular consciousness. So that is our potential. Mother paved the way for us. It's not a thing of a far-fetched goal, that it won't happen. If we start now, if we invoke the divine presence in the cells right now, it is going to happen, only if I am willing. The aim of our yoga is not to find out the most efficient method. Now he's reorienting us. It's very important to reorient, because I'm not here whether I'll be rid of my disease, or whether it will come back again or not. That is not my concern. What is happening? The aim of our yoga is not to find out the most efficient method of healing diseases. That's not the aim. So much as to change the entire consciousness. So the consciousness which was responsible for bringing the disease, that itself is transmuted. It's shifted completely. And we all know that usually, most often, ego consciousness is the responsible cause for any illness. As Taru was sharing, that most of the illnesses are psychosomatic. So the more I identify with the thoughts and feelings and my past and my story and me as this person, this body, the more I'm trapped in the grip of ego consciousness, and the more ill I have the capacity to get. So we have the capacity to make a leap of faith from ego consciousness to our truer consciousness. So the aim of our yoga is not to find out the most efficient method of healing diseases, so much as to change the entire consciousness, even the physical, in order that the disease may not come at all. What is the need of a disease if I have awaken to my true self, there is no need for the disease to be here. Mother also in her sessions, mother in her talks and in her words, mother says that death is a bad habit. We somehow lose a sense of purpose in life, and then the body decides, okay, the soul decides better for me to leave, because I'm not, maybe meaningful involved in this life anymore. But when we change radically our consciousness, when we offer our whole self to the universal work, then I would say that no, as long as mother wants me to live, I will live. How does age matter? So that's the radical shift that we are looking towards. Even the physical, in order that disease may not come at all. So whether I'm living to up to 90 years, 100 years, involved in universal mother's work, how do I care about the age? The entire being must be so transformed that the disease becomes impossible. Again, our higher possibility. So the more I am trapped in the ego consciousness, the more I am thinking mostly about myself, my needs, my family, my desires, my unfulfilled expectations and needs. Very little, very limited, suffocated. But when I surrender myself to higher work, then there is no requirement of the disease to be there. And if disease comes, then it comes for my own growth. That is how I can take it. So anything here, anyone?
Yeah, two things. I think one thing that you just spoke about, as there's no need, how it's a journey, right? Like in the beginning, I'm all scattered, right? Like it's the other, I don't know what's happening with me, I don't know what's happening with the other. So I think in the beginning, it's important, how you shared about your journey, that when cancer came to you, you realize that you need to put yourself, in front, and how that led to the other thing. So I feel, how it's a journey that first the attention has to be within and then it springs out. And secondly, I just wanted to say that, with the way we live these days, everything is about management and efficiency, right? Okay, I have this, and how to best manage this. I have this condition, this disease, but here, it's like just a dimensional shift. That it's not that I'm managing my problem, but the problem does not need to exist. Like I created it, or it's come for my growth, like you shared. But how the possibility and the acceptance that it's not that I'm trying to best manage it. I'm sorry, I'm just repeating that manage thing because I feel that's too much in our mentality. But how it's beyond that, right? It in itself does not need to exist, and that's a possibility. And of course, we have so many stories of people, you know, like conquering their diseases or they just vanish. So just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes. I think the aspect of managing usually comes to us, as you said, that it's very much in our heads because we don't want a radical shift. क्योंकि उसके लिए तो कितना बदलना पड़ेगा, how much I'll have to change, that I'll have to leave. As you were sharing that example the other day, that a pig was going to heaven and he was asking whether I'll get my excreta over there, otherwise how would I live? So that's how we usually are, that we don't want to live our comfort zones, and yet we want to get rid of the illness. And there the aspect of, I think, managing comes to picture, that being myself, remaining in the ego consciousness, how can I, maybe take care of this illness. Yeah, anything else? Anyone? So going on with the words, if you have anything, please unmute at any time. Otherwise, I'll just go on. So we come to the next one, which also includes what Taru was sharing, the managing aspect also. Yeah, anyone who would like to go next? Read this one for us.
I can
I
read.
can.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, yeah, anyone. We'll have more paragraphs also, so it doesn't matter. Priyanka, you can go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Integral healing in its completeness implies such a transformation by which illness, suffering, and death would become things of the past. But before an evolutionary leap carries us beyond human nature as we know it, there are practical ways to maintain physical as well as psychological equilibrium and deal with the challenges that illness may present. These are the main subject of this book.
Yeah. So again, very beautiful that now that I am who I am, I have not yet become the new race which mother points us towards. The human nature is still like a dog's tail, quite hard to change. So they say integral healing in its completeness implies such a transformation. So what we are going to delve into the ocean of integral healing, such a transformation by which illness, suffering and death would become things of the past. Now we can actually reflect over this, that why illness, suffering and death present themselves. What is the need? Because the way I am so identified in my ego consciousness, so identified with my limited self, as Taru was sharing, that it is a need that these things exist for me. Because if they don't exist, who will tell me that I'm not going the right way? So it's like a red signal, you are driving on the roads and you have to stop. Now a red signal is not a blame. We don't begin to blame, oh my god, why the red signal is there. It just tells us here it is time to stop. So just like that, a disease or a suffering or a pain in life, like emotional or mental pain in life, it is at the moment required because I am too trapped in my darkness and ignorance. So as long as ignorance stays, from time to time reminders are also very, very important on the path. If not for an illness, who will tell me that I have a higher self and I have to wake up to it? So at this moment juncture of human evolution, collectively we see so many illnesses are on rise. We have been through a very tough phase globally, and the disease has taught us also many things. We have realized importance, and the things that we take for granted, we have realized the importance of that. Just general breathing without a mask, for example, how grateful we can be for that breathing. So since we are who we are, it's like necessary right now. But they say that if we go deeper into it, if we radically shift and allow the transformation to happen, then illness, suffering and death, all these reminders, which are nothing but signals, they would actually become the things of past. There's no need for them to be there. But before an evolutionary leap carries us beyond human nature as we know it right now, there are practical ways to maintain physical as well as psychological. So my healthy body also remains healthy, and my mental and emotional states also remain relatively peaceful and sanitized before I absolutely become a new race and deal with the challenges that the illness may present. So, and this is where we start from in this book. So this book is a compilation of words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, which sadhaks have, disciples have put together. And many things are also like, as Mother and Sri Aurobindo were working on their own selves, they're from their own experiences, all of it. And it's not like ordered by them, it's ordered by the disciples together. But whatever is the order, we will get the crux of it. Yeah, so this paragraph is also very beautiful, this one. So I would request anyone to share any further reflection, or maybe go ahead with this one. Yes, Yuan, you wanted to unmute?
Okay.
Yeah.
Illness, suffering, and death have been unavoidable circumstance in the emergence of living and thinking beings in a world of inanimate matter. But at a certain point, the human consciousness begins to become aware of something within or beyond itself, whose nature is self-existent, peace and bliss. A potent new factor is then introduced. This higher reality has long been experienced in various aspects by the mystics and practitioners of the disciplines that in India are grouped under the heading of yoga. In these disciplines, however, spiritual liberation has often been pursued for its own sake, with little regard for its relevance to material life.
Yeah, thank you. So what I found very interesting was this, which struck a chord, that at certain point in our evolution, human consciousness begins to become aware of something within or beyond itself, something higher than the limited self I think myself to be, whose nature is self-existent peace and bliss. And we are all given glimpses of this reality in our own ways. It's another matter if we want to not remember and recollect it and revive it, but we've all been given glimpses of this higher reality. And Mother says that if once you have been given a glimpse, which all of us have, stick to it. Mother says, make that your reality. Don't believe in what thoughts and feelings and what social conditioning tells you. Make that glimpse. If that has been possible once, I can make it my life also. And all of us have experiences, I'm sure, although I don't know personal experiences of anyone, but I'm sure and certain that all of us have depth in our life, and we all have been given glimpses of something higher, something deeper, which at times we choose to ignore because of outer circumstances becoming too heavy. But it's not that we can't revive and recollect it. So this is what one becomes aware of in one's consciousness. Then he says a potent factor, new factor is then introduced. This higher reality has long been experienced in various aspects by mystics and practitioners. So we know, we have heard stories about sadhus and yogis, and maybe doing it in forests, and maybe going towards something higher than whatever the material existence is. So usually it becomes a bit separated, that here is the material existence and here I am approaching something which is much diviner in nature. But the quality with Mother and Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga is that it brings all of it together. We don't have to separate spirituality from material life. Whether we start from the spirit as a yogi, we'll come to the divine in matter, or we start as a scientist, as a material person from the matter, we will have to come to the spirit, because that is the reality of matter. So joining these two and knowing that I'm not just these physical symptoms, I am also the creator of the physical symptoms. That gives us power. So let's go on, because this is also a bit connected with the previous paragraph. Anyone who wants to share it? Shweta, you had unmuted. You want to read it?
On the other hand, there are forms of yoga that have concerned themselves with the body, such as Hatha Yoga, which is now synonymous with yoga for most people. But these have tended to rely on techniques that are predominantly physical and inherently limited in their results, however powerful within those limits. The attempt of the integral yoga to bring a force from the highest spiritual plane into the depths of matter opens up a frontier whose exploration could alter the equation between consciousness and the body it inhabits, with incalculable implications for the future.
Yeah, thank you. So usually whenever we talk about yoga, it's like asanas and pranayams, but here it's a different dimension that we enter into with Mother and Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga. And it's also that physical techniques are limited. For example, I may be not physically equipped or capable of doing hatha yoga. It may be just completely out of my physical reach. That's possible. We all have different physical abilities, but integral yoga is possible for everyone. I don't, if even if I'm not able to do any asana per se, it doesn't mean that I can't do integral yoga. This union with the divine is possible with everyone, no matter how physically incapacitated I am, even factually speaking. So the attempt of integral yoga to bring a force, so this is what we are banking upon. The attempt of the integral yoga is to bring a force from the highest spiritual plane, which for now I may not be aware of, I may not have much faith on, it doesn't matter. But if I want to start, then I will have access to it. The highest spiritual plane into the depths of the matter. And matter is like hard, it's rigid, it's full of inertia, it's unconscious of its own divinity, right? That's matter. And that's the same body that we have. It's rigid, no matter how supple at the moment it is, but it's rigid. It's full of inertia, tamas, lethargy. And what is being granted to me is to call upon that higher force, so that this same matter, which is so inertia, full of inertia and lethargic, can wake up to its divine potentials. And Mother says at one point of time, I just keep on recollecting a few things, that Mother says that as if the cells have remembered dying for a long time, so they have become habituated to dying. And what we have to do is, we have to first of all develop faith within, mental and emotional faith, psychic faith, and then we have to push it, like she says, that you have to inject it into the physical cells who have forgotten that they can be immortal. So this is our possibility. But usually why I'm not convinced that this is my possibility, because my life is too limited. My area of operation is very, very limited, like my family, my relation, my own needs, my own expectations. And when I get disappointed from there, I lose the will to live. Why do I live? I've maybe enough of this samsara for me, somewhere like something like that. But what radical change of consciousness we were talking of, that if I have now lived a limited life enough, and now I'm ready to offer myself to the work, then I can be convinced that now it's time that I would want the cells to live longer, so that I can live for Mother's work. Otherwise, I don't feel compelled. Why do I live for this limited life? We don't feel compelled. So, but when we have something higher, something beautiful to give ourselves to, then we are compelled that why not? Why not to live longer? So I think the aspect of surrender, which comes in works of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, I think that is very, we can't separate that from this radical shift in consciousness. It will have to come. It's like, it's our birthright to surrender. And if we don't surrender, then it's like a wasted attempt. Oh my God, I just missed it, something like that. Again, that's my personal reflection, but yeah, feel free to ignore it. Yeah, so any comments, any reflections for now? Anyone?
Yeah, sorry, me again. When you shared how Mother says that you keep forgetting those moments, right, where you did experience something a bit beyond, and how she, there, again another mistake. He said that until you start putting it equal to your regular, your experiences, say even one experience, somewhere all of us, I know not I should not use that word, most of us keep dividing the real world from these experiences, right? Like this is what I do practically. But that's something that just happened. I'm not really sure. But it's like I keep the real world as in, my everyday existence to be real, and that's just wishy-washy, or maybe I'm not even myself sure. Maybe I was hallucinating, for example. So to keep it's like because we are starting this new journey today, I feel, how again Sri Aurobindo says in the Life Divine that how we are our own prison. I mean, we have to at least accept the idea of this possibility because, right now this is not a book. This is more like, how they say Shrutis, right? Like divine knowledge just talking itself. So we have to accept that, yes, this is a possibility for me. Like it's not just a saint sitting on the Kailash or mother in Pondicherry who could do that. Because she says it's my possibility, it is my possibility, even though it sounds maybe far-fetched to me right now. But this acceptance that yes, there is beyond, right? There is beyond has to be there for any shift to happen, or it will happen. Of course, it will take more time. It will happen. And yet, if I accept it somewhere, it happens faster. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And then also, the other aspect that we were talking of, that mother says that one has to be really disgusted of the old self so that I'll be convinced to take this leap forward. So if some of us are not yet disgusted with our older selves, we may take time because in eternity there is enough time. But those of us who are convinced of the disgust, I think those of us, as if the disgust is like a fire behind my ass, propelling myself further. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this example that you gave because, unless I even believe that there is a fire, how will I put fuel in the fire for it to become bigger, right? So for me, that's like sounds like the first step. Yeah, thank you.
So it means that for those of us, the ashes are burning, it's a good thing. We are being propelled forward. Yeah. Anyone wants to share anything? So let me see. So I just wanted to get done with the introduction today, and then we can next time. So it's from Richard Hartz. Yeah. So just a second. I don't want to miss something. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah, perfect. So I think we are ready to embark on the book now after the introduction, which we'll start maybe the next session. And along with that, uh, I'll be also sharing a few slides from the Veda of the Body by Dr. Alok Pandey. Next time I'll do that. I'll keep it short today. Just don't want to overwhelm each one of us. So, and feel free to go through the book. And whenever you have reflections, maybe you read something beautiful which resonates, put it on the WhatsApp group for all of us to read and share. And if you get to know of more, maybe talks, videos, something that resonates with the theme, please allow yourself to put it forward. Yeah, for all of us. And I'll be also sharing these recordings on the WhatsApp groups also, but it's a request that if people can attend live to have interactions and reflection, it would be nice, because later on it happens many a times that we only watch recordings. Has happened with many of other sessions, but that's okay too. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the words of the mother will reach us. So any last comments, anyone?
Now, just thank you for this initiative. I'm very happy to start this.
Thank you for being here. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And again, just taking a moment of silence, wishing health and wellness for everyone here. Just one moment of silence, and then we'll end. May all of us recognize our highest potential. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good morning, good night to everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.